welcome back to the shop. I know the videos have been kind of few and far between lately. That's just because it's been super nice up here in the Northeast. It's probably been mid-60s almost all week and all weekend. So I've been doing outdoor things I've had to do around the house to get them done before it gets really hot out. So that's been taking up a lot of my time, plus work's been getting busy too. So that's why the videos haven't been every week like they have been in the past. But I do get to this stuff whenever I can. Now today's video is we're going to be making a die holder for the What's in Your Box giveaway to go along with those tap holders that we made. And it's going to be to hold the 1-inch threading dies, which is probably the most common size for a home shop guide. Probably almost every one of you guys have a set of these floating around somewhere. And we're going to be making a holder kind of similar to this with bar stock. Unlike the tap wrenches, I'm not going to be knurling the bars because you can actually use these if you're very careful in the lathe under power, and just basically hold it against as long as it can swing in the ways freely, you can kind of hold it, and then if it gets tight, let go and let it spin. If that's the case, I don't want anything rough on your hands to either grab your hands or tear your hands if you let it go. So we're not going to be knurling the handles on it. And like I said, it's going to be made with pretty much bar stock. So very simple project, and I hope you guys like it. I have a couple of shop acquisition tools and stuff I just wanted to show you guys, and a couple of them came from a place that you really wouldn't expect, and I kind of want to show you those. Also, to let you guys know, next week will be the beginner video. The beginner video will be filmed next week and be posted next weekend. I'm gonna change I think I'm gonna do the voting for those videos the way I did it this past time, which was I'm gonna make a separate 2-minute random video during the week, and I will put in that video the choices for the beginner video, so that way there you can just watch that 2-minute video. I'll explain what the choices are and what they entail and what I plan on doing in those choices, and then you guys can vote on them. And once that month's video is done and filmed, that month's episode, I can go and delete that 2-minute video. That way there, you don't have to sit through a whole video to figure out that the voting is actually in that project video, because not everybody watches every project video. Some of you guys skip around. So if I have just one 2-minute video with a big heading of beginner project voting, then you guys can click right on that, and everybody gets a chance to vote. So I think that's the way we're going to work the beginner videos. So let's just set up on the bench here, and I'll very quickly go through some cool new tools that we got for the shop, and then we'll start making our die holder. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show from you came from the flea market. Actually came from Todd's Farm up in Raleigh. Some of you might know what that is. It's not your typical flea market. It's more of a lot of antique dealers, or people that think they have antiques, and people that think that things, you know, you can sell a glass bowl for $300. So it's hit or miss. The last time I go up there maybe once or twice a year, if that, just to check it out. Sometimes some people have some interesting things, and as far as tooling and stuff goes, it's been kind of crappy. When I went up there, I got this. I got a really good deal on this, which is why I bought it. The only other couple of things that I saw up there is that actually the same guy that I bought this from had a whole Unimat lathe with all the accessories, a ton of accessories, and he was selling it for $3 1/4, which is actually a really good price. This guy had really good prices, which is why I bought this from. Which is kind of funny because a little bit further down from him, they had a guy that had the same Gerstner toolbox that I had, kind of in the shape that mine was when I bought it. And I bought mine for $100 at a yard sale from a guy that knew what it was and knew what they were worth. He gave it to me for $100. I got a really good deal on that. This guy wanted like $300 or $3 1/4 for it. He was also selling, I don't know if you've seen out in a booth, break out the Starrett catalog, the old catalogs. I asked him how much for that. He wanted $25 for the catalog. So like I said, it's hit or miss. But anyway, I saw this laying on the ground, and I asked the guy how much, and he said $15, and I said sold. And what this is an old Little Giant tap and die set. It's a little beat up. I mean, you can see the dings and stuff on the die stock here. But mainly the reason I got it is because I have some other ones of these. These are the Greenfield ones. I have a bunch of these lying around, SW card ones, and they're basically the same thing, and they fit this die handle. And here's the tap handle. It's number 5. It's in good shape. Like I said, this has been used. This is obviously, I mean, that 1/2-inch tap has been reground. One of these was really chipped out, like it's chipped out on the back. But these are really nice sets. They're fully adjustable. These teeth adjust in and out, and they're also replaceable. You could take the guide off, and that's all this part is a guide. It'll let you feed in the die straight. You take this out, and these teeth here are actually replaceable. Not exactly sure if you can get the replacements for them, but they're individually numbered. And it's just a nice set, and it was lying down there. I asked him how much he wanted for it. He said $15, and I thought that was a really good deal, because even this for, you know, $10-15 is probably a decent deal. So we got that there. This is a number 310. And like I said, it has some wear and it has some use, but all in all, I didn't have one, and I got one now. Okay, so these next 3 things I'm going to show you came from an unusual source, and they came from a restore. If you don't know what that is, it's run by Habitat for Humanity, and it's like their retail store for all the stuff that they have. Basically, contractor leftovers, or things that contractors remove from houses, like lights, entire kitchens, appliances, all stuff that's in good workable, usable condition, and also stuff that the public donates. They take and have in these stores, and you can buy them. There's also furniture and stuff in there. Well, the one that I drive by all the time for work, I stop in there about once a month, and this one is actually one of the best ones around. And it has a decent amount of tools, actually usable tools. A lot of the other ones I've been to have been junk tools, but they have a lot of power tools and things like that. It's stuff that's actually usable, well, actually still usable, not just junk. But anyway, I happened to walk in there, and they had a whole rack of machinist tools, and I picked through it and got what I wanted. I wanted more, but couldn't afford everything that was on the rack. And they had the best thing that they had in the rack. They had a set of 32-inch Starrett master calipers, the vernier calipers in a big box. They wanted $250 for it, which is actually a really good price considering what they are. And they had a bunch of height gauges and things like that. So I went through there, and it looked like it was a lot of inspection stuff is basically what it was. So one of the things I got was just this Brown & Sharp adjustable parallel set. It's the same thing as the Starretts. You know, 2 screws, and you know, they slide apart on a dovetail, and you can adjust the height. Always useful around the shop for various things. I didn't have a set, so I picked those up. But basically, the 2 kind of big things that I got were these. And here's one of them, and you can see we have pin gauges. This is a Myers gauge, and this set here is an M1 set, and it's a minus set, meaning that it's from the printed size minus whatever the tolerance is. I think it's like 2/10,000ths or something like that. I looked it up, I forgot what it is, but anyway, made in USA, and it's the full set of pin gauges that go from quarter-inch, or go from just shy of a 1/16 of an inch to a 1/4 inch, and all the sizes in between. And these here are by thousandths, and these are the nominal sizes all the way up. These are by thousandths. Okay, so that's one set, and the other set is the same thing, but. And this one happened to have all the paperwork and everything in it. But these are the plus and minus sizes. So these are still by 1/1000th of an inch, but they are plus or minus 5/10,000ths of an inch of these. So these are for if you wanted to do interference fit, press fit, something like that. So we got 5/10,000ths over the larger size of that, over 1/4 inch, and 5/10,000ths over the smaller size of this one. So this is basically the in-between sizes from this. So those are the two things that I picked up that we added to the shop collection. Oh, the other thing, this is the completed collet rack. I don't know if I showed it on any of the other videos, but we had put the angle brackets on there to hold the dovetails of the holders. They're all stacked up. The collet's up there, and chuck keys and everything. So you can see it's on the lathe there, all painted. So it's come in very handy, and it keeps my holders pretty much at hand's length. And I have them all set up, all on center height, and each tool are kind of the commonly used ones that I use. Okay, so here's the sequence of operations. I have a 1.5 inch piece of steel in the chuck. What I'm going to do is I'm going to face this edge off, and then I'm going to step drill probably 2 different sizes before I get to it, but what I basically want to end up with is a drilled 3/4 inch hole straight through this blank. And this blank is only about maybe 2 inches long, if that. Once I get that drilled, okay, so that's 3/4 of an inch, the dies that we're going to be making this for is these 1-inch dies here. And I have a bunch of different ones of these. I have a couple of different makes of American branded ones. I have an offshore Chinese branded one, and I have a Japanese branded one. And the American ones are consistently about 5/1000ths under 1 inch. The Chinese ones are anywhere between 20 and 25/1000ths under 1 inch, and the Japanese ones are about 10/1000ths under 1 inch. So we're just going to go nominal 1-inch hole through here, bored through here once we're done. And what we want to do is we want to, like I said, smack a 3/4 inch hole in there. Okay, then I'll probably just take the boring bar and just clean it up to make sure it's a truly round hole. And then we'll measure the thickness of this, and I'll set my dial indicator on my carriage, and we'll only bore into that depth and make sure we have a nice flat face on the inside that this can sit up against. And then we'll come back here and we'll park this off, and then we'll flip it around in the 4-jaw chuck here, redial it in, and get some parallels, and we'll be able to face this the rear surface flat with this front surface to register it, and then we can drill the holes for the handles. So that's pretty much it. So let's get started, and what I'm going to do is just face this off. slot drill here. To speed up a little bit. Open it up to 3/4 of an inch. Okay, we got a 3/4 inch hole in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change over to my boring bar. I'm going to take just a skim cut in there to take out any of the chowdery marks and just smooth out that surface. And basically what that size is there is going to be the shoulder that holds this die in place, like so. and get my calipers and we'll measure that. Okay, so I'm going to pot this off about 450 thousandths long here, and that'll give me that web. That'll make the web of the shoulder and the back 75 thousandths, which should be more than enough. So what I'm going to do is just come up and touch it with my parting blade. Actually, first thing I have to do before I even do that is make sure my tool block's squared up. Now I can come touch my parting blade to my part. Set 0 on my dial indicator. Move in 1, 2, 3, 450 thousandths plus the parting blade width. And that's what we're going to part. So I might run into a little bit of an issue right here. Just clear the chuck. But I don't think, I am definitely not going to have enough to do that. Alright, so I have to pull that part out a little bit from the chuck, which is no problem because we have it in a 4-jaw and we already have this outside dialed in, so we'll just do the same thing. Okay, so we're all dialed in again. We're a 1/2 thousandth on this face and we're within about 1.5 on this outside edge. There is a little dip in the edge as I go around, but that's in the actual metal stock. Alright, so I'll do this again. I'm gonna touch there, bring that dial indicator up. It's at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 50 plus the width of the bar. Plus 10. I gave it an extra 10 thousandths or so because I want to face off that back edge once I'm done. So that should be where we want to be. And slow the machine down here. Lock down the carriage. Get some oil going here. Now what we can do here chamfer that edge with a file, because the way I have this parting blade cut, depending on what the finish leaves on the back, we may not even have to face it off. We'll see though. Yeah, it's not too bad, but I'm just going to set it up again in the 4-jaw chuck, and we'll take a skim off of that. And what we'll do is we'll put a nice parallel right up against this side here, and make sure that this side is parallel with this back side here. Okay, so to register that face, just get a couple of 1/2-inch parallels here. I'm resting on the jaws. And push it nice and tight against the back of that chuck. And we're just going to snug these here down. Okay, they're holding the parallels nice. Okay. Okay, so we'll see what we got for run out here. There's my low spot. My high is about 5. So we're gonna find 5 or 6. We'll find 2.5 right there. We'll set 0. We'll go to closest jaw. Bring that to 0. Next jaw, right to 0. And we should be pretty close, so within 2. Let's see if I can get that out. There is a bump in the stock, so let me see. So there's my low, and there's my high. Let's see if we can get it out just a hair. Now we got a little bit of a bump in the stock, which is making up for that. I can see the little divot there. So if I 4-point it, we're within there. So that's good. We'll check this face. It should be pretty close. So we're within about 1/2 or so, right there. So it's more than good enough for me. So all we're going to do is face this side, chamfer this edge, chamfer the inside edge. There we go. So we'll get ready to drill that. Okay, so I'm going to drill this quarter 28, and well, I'm going to drill it and tap it for quarter 28. I already have the everything centered, and I have it already spot drilled, and we're just going to drill straight through and then run the tap through. So. Alrighty. Just using the jaws of the chuck to straighten that because this does not have a point on it. So I'm just using the flat of that tap wrench there to straighten my tap. And this is a gun tap, so it's going to be pushing all the chips in. I should be able to go straight in with this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to reach the other side, but we'll try. Yeah, it's not going to reach the other side. So I'll just have to tap the other side, and then should be it. Okay, so the handles here are just a piece of 3/8, and it's turned down to 1/4 inch on the end and threaded for the quarter 28 thread. Really not that much to show there, so I didn't show it. And the cutoff for about 5 inches. Now I went and I ground a little flat on either side so that these will fit nice and flush on there. It's easier than using the end mill or anything like that, just because the flat doesn't have to be wasn't that big. This is a 1/4 inch thread, it's a 3/8 shank, so it really doesn't have to be that big. So they fit in there nice and flush. And any of the grinding marks and everything you can see are hidden completely by the rod, and they sit nice and flush. So now what we got to do is we got to drill a hole dead nuts in the top of this, and that's going to be for our lockdown screw. Now I cut these off about 5 inches or so, and I'm going to leave them at that. Whoever gets this for the What's in Your Box tool giveaway can cut these handles down to whatever length they want for whatever lathe they have. Leave them as is, or they can just cut them down. So I'm not going to Loctite these in place or anything. If if I was leaving it like this and using it, I would Loctite it. And like I said before, we're not gonna knurl the handles here because for me personally, on die holders, I kind of like it a little smoother than on the tap things. Just a personal preference. So I like to use these in the lathe a lot. So anyway, now we got to drill that hole in the top. So I'm gonna put it back in our vise here with those handles in place. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to measure both sides here. And we're just looking at the contact point in the middle here, where it contacts this scale, and there we go. And lock it down. And we're just making that contact point the same distance on both sides. That way there we know we're perfectly centered on the top. And I'll just take these out to get it out of the way. Set up for a 1024 thread here. And that's pretty much it. So let me clean this up and then we'll go over the bench and check it out. Okay, so here is the finished product. And it's a little bit, proportion-wise, it's a little bit off. These handles could be shorter, but I'm going to leave it at that for whoever gets this can shorten them to whatever they want. Also, I'm not going to knurl them. That way there you can actually use this in the lathe under power if you want. If it's able to swing in the lathes, you can hold it and let it go. And then that way there you have nothing kind of grabby with it. So that's it. And the dies that fit in there nice. And you line up the holes here and just snug the screw down, and you're good to go. And it pops out nice and easy. And you can see here, there's that register in the back. There are the holes that go all the way through for the handles, and there's the hole for the screw. And you can see where I ground it to fit flush there and right there, so that those handles fit into the side nice and flush. And that's it. So the biggest thing is just making sure that this outside face, this inside register, and this back are all concentric with each other. That way there you can use them as a register and put something flat up against the edge here and use that to keep your tap in line as you're tapping in the lathe, or even on a piece of work or whatever you're doing. So that's it, really simple project, and that'll be going to Keith Fenner for the toolbox giveaway. And there's much more that's going to be going that way from a lot of the other guys on YouTube. I think some of them have, it's possible that some of them have already had videos and everything up. I haven't had a chance to watch any of them. But that's it. So thanks for watching this video. We'll see you on the next one, and we still have a collar attachment that we have to fix, and some other things to do, so we'll get to those. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.